In this video, I'll be giving some tips and tricks regarding weapon edge modifier. In my previous video, I mentioned that there was some key information missing from the mine's description, and it is exactly about the edge damage. And this allows the lighter mine to do most of this damage on top of the mine, while the heavier version does a lot of damage on top of the mine but also on the edge. If we look at any military unit, in the description you can see in the info row that it mentions reload range, 56 AoE, 50% edge, and this unit also does 300 damage a shot. Now let's see exactly what that means. So if I pull the target, if I pull the unit's target over here, a shot that lands exactly in the center of my cursor will do 300 damage. It will also do some amount of damage in everywhere in the red area, but it will be significantly less. And what 50% edge means is at the exterior red circle, the most exterior red circle, it will do 15% out of 300, which is about 45 damage. Now, most of the units have 50% edge, and today I'll be focusing on the units that do a lot more than 50%. There are also some ships and some tactical bombers that have higher values, but I don't think that they are that much interesting. Now, to showcase exactly how that edge value matters, here I have a tactical nuke which has 4k damage with 55% edge. That means that at the outmost edge of the target it will do 2200 damage. And here I have a salamander which has 2100 damage, which means that if I shoot the salamander exactly at the edge, it will not kill it. But if I shoot it exactly inside of the red circle, in that case it will kill it. So now the center of I have to make sure that the center of the unit is inside of the circle, and now it should destroy it. One place where the edge value matters a lot, and it's quite a big difference, is in these nukes in both of the Armada and the Cortex versions. And this tells you a lot about how good the Cortex version actually is. So if you look at the Armada first, I can actually put this target below this max. So in that case, the bottom of my screen matches with the edge of the target. And if I pull up the description, it says 9500 damage with 45% edge. So at the bottom of my screen it will do 45% of that value. With the Cortex one, if I line it up, it also has a lot more AoE, but even though it has the same 45% edge, it has a lot more damage. So at the bottom of my screen it will do probably like 55 to 60% damage of that huge value. And that means that not only that the Cortex has more AoE, but if we want to shoot, let's say, an Aphos which has 8k damage, with the Armada you don't have that much room for error. You can shoot it on top of it or right in the vicinity, but with the Cortex one, because it does so much more damage, it has so much more damage, you can actually shoot it far away, and with the same percentage of edge it will still do enough damage to actually destroy it. Now the next part is about some unit matchup. In the first example, I have a fatboy and a sniper. The sniper is the direct counter to the fatboy because it has a lot of damage, but it has low values when we're looking at AoE and edge. So basically the sniper is a precision unit. It either does full damage or no damage. On the contrary, the fatboy it has only 700 range, but it has huge AoE and huge edge value. This means that if pawns or grunts are marching towards it, even if he overshoots or misses them, as long as they are within the target, they will still die. Now, one thing that is really interesting is this red line over here is the range of the fatboy. And if you are the sniper player, you might think that you have about this amount of room to micro your sniper and be safe. But in reality, because the fatboy has so much AoE and edge, even at the edge of his projectile, he still does over 550 damage or something. So if I shoot, you can see exactly how much it covers. So in reality, the fatboy has 820 damage, because if the sniper gets anywhere close, so if it passes this line, he will instantly die. And if you're the fatboy player and you see snipers shooting at you, you should try to move forward a bit and try to shoot at the ground, because you have a chance to actually shoot. You actually have a chance to kill the sniper. Another interesting matchup is the one between Sheldons and Banisher. On paper, the Sheldon has 850 range, and just like the sniper, it either hits or misses. While the Banisher, even though it has only 800 range, because it has some AoE and higher values on the edge department, it actually outranges the Sheldon, because in reality it has 864 damage. So it's an interesting fact that the Banisher can actually outrange the Sheldon. Some really famous matchup is the one between Mausers and Quakers. In this example, both of them are outside of each other's range. But in reality, both of them can shoot at the ground and hit the other one. So this is an interesting fact. Another thing that is quite often mentioned is that the Mauser is a lot better than the Quaker and the Sheldon. And that's because it has higher range and it's quite a bit faster. But one thing that is not mentioned is one thing that Quakers and Sheldons can do and Mausers cannot. And I will start with the Quaker. So the Quaker has a lot more AoE and a lot more damage than the Mauser. And this allows him to do something really cool. And if we imagine here to be a choke point and units coming into this direction, because the Mausers have that combination of high AoE and a high edge value plus high damage, you can actually shoot at the ground and completely zone out any units that come your way. This makes the Quakers a lot better than the Mausers, and it's not only against spam, it can actually deal significant damage to T2 units. Something that the Sheldon can do, because it is a bot unit, it can actually move sideways while it is shooting. So even though it has less range than a Mauser, if you micro the Sheldon, you can actually counter both Mausers and Quakers directly. So I see the Sheldon not as an artillery unit, but more as an anti-artillery unit. And it doesn't take a lot of shots to actually kill Mausers and Quakers. Another cool matchup is the one between Pounders and the Commander. And usually if you go Pounders earlier in the game, you are quite afraid of being degunned. The Commander has two main weapons, the laser, which has 300 range, and it's not really that dangerous in this matchup. But the one that the Pounder player actually fears is the Digun, which has 250 range, and is this inner circle. Now the front Pounder over here cannot shoot at the Commander from this position, he has to move a little bit forward. But if he does so, the Commander can also move forward and easily degun him. One thing that is really cool if we look at the description is that the Pounder has 350 range, 72 AoE, but very high value in the edge department. That means in reality it has 387 range, which allows this Pounder over here, which is a little bit further away from the Commander, to actually shoot at the ground. And as you can see, that did 141 damage out of 190. This allows Pounders to shoot and zone out Commanders without being in danger of being degunned. With that high edge value, it also allowed Pounders to shoot at walls and do damage behind them. For my last example, I have a comparison between the two bombers from the two factions. And this is a case where edge value doesn't matter. We all know that the Cortex version is a lot better because it does more damage, has higher AoE, but this one only has 40% edge, while the Armada version has less damage, less AoE, but 55% edge. And this doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't do any good to the bomber because of the way they drop their bombs. Both of the planes drop exactly 5 bombs, and if we look at the layout of exactly how they drop their bombs, we can see these 5 yellow circles. And in case of the Cortex version, these circles are bigger, and the most important thing that you should notice here is the gap between the circles. And if you compare that to the Armada version, you can see smaller circles and larger gaps. I actually calculated exactly how much each of the bombs do, and in case of the Cortex one, it does between 68 and 112. 68 and 112, and the Armada one does between 63 and 105. And while that doesn't look that much of a difference, and if you just use one bomber you will not notice that much of a difference between them, when you use multiple bombers, the damage you get bonus damage from surrounding bombs, the similar way you get bonus damage when you surround a commander and you have two units that are opposites from the commander's point of view, and one of them gets double damage. The same thing happens here, so the edge value actually doesn't matter that much. What matters most is the area effect of each bomb. So if anyone would actually want to buff the Armada bomber, it shouldn't be in the damage or the edge department. In order to actually improve the unit, you actually have to give it more AoE. That's all. Thank you for watching.